Megan Hicks of I Run Far. I'm with Ruth Croft. It's the day after the 2024 UTMB, and you are the women's second place finisher. How does that sound?
Yeah, no, it was good. I had a plan going into the race and executed it pretty much how I wanted to.
So there was I guess maybe a bit of a rumor going around pre-race that you were gonna, I don't know, take it easy in the first half and then really push in the second half.
Yeah.
And looking at how your race played out, it seems like you did exactly what that rumor said you were gonna do.
Yeah. I had a race plan and I had all the splits that I needed for each timing point, through to, it was pretty much the whole race, but the goal was to stick with them to Courmayeur. And yeah, I pretty much was either a minute or 2 minutes up or down at all the timing points. And yeah, the goal was to get to Courmayeur trying to feel like I hadn't run 81k. And then I just didn't want it to be go out hard and then def march it in. I was trying to really avoid that.
And you had developed these splits based on the premise of if you can keep yourself fairly fresh early, you'll be able to perhaps go harder than you would have been.
Yeah.
I think by going out more aggressively.
Exactly. I think for me, running a good 100 miles was going to come down to how well I paced it. And if I started too fast, I wasn't going to be able to close fast. And so, yeah, I was just going to be conservative and then try and pick people off in the back half.
So you, I think, spent basically the first half of the race somewhere in the 6th to 9th place area. Mm-hmm. And splits wise, were you matching your splits and doing what you wanted to do?
Yeah, I was right on my splits.
Okay.
Right through there. Yeah, people said to me, they're like, were you going for a really bad patch? And I was like, no. I was
running my splits.
Yeah, and it was good because I had this plan and I knew I was a bit back, but I just didn't worry. I was I'm still on my times, and so yeah.
Was there any uncertainty in doing, because I think traditionally you're a little bit more of an aggressive starter. Is that a fair thing to say? Or
I think it's my first UTMB, and also I just think when I'd looked at the historical data kind of UTMB, people who had a lot of people positive split the course, and I think it's
by a long shot.
By a long shot,
yeah.
It's get through Courmayeur 4 hours or sub 4 hours, and then just try and hold it together for the end. And I just didn't want to do that. I wanted to try to do the opposite.
Yeah. So you came through Courmayeur. I think you were in 6th place at that point, and then spent the next 30 to 40k moving up in position, slowly picking people off, or people came back to you, or you must have arrived at Courmayeur fresh enough that part B of the plan, you were able to put that into action.
Yeah, the goal was to get 3 hours 10 elapsed to Lake Contamine, and did that, and then it was supposed to be 4:20 in the morning at Courmayeur, which is 10 hours 20 elapsed, and I was pretty much bang on.
You're being joined by the rescue service. And you said the goal was to feel fresh. Did you? I mean, it's 80k into a race. How'd you feel?
I didn't feel great at the start. I felt like everyone went out really fast and it was hot, and I just thought of Ludo and how he's been able to turn it around. So I didn't worry too much.
Okay.
But I didn't feel terrible, and then I was actually starting, as the race progressed, I just started feeling better and better.
Where our team members were out on the second half of the course, they all kept reporting that you were running things that other people were hiking, that you were moving quicker than the people in front of you. Did you go into hunt mode, or were you chasing splits, or what was the mindset for that part?
So I started, when I passed Blondine, I think after La Folie, and then I got a split going up to Champé, was that Marianne was 48 minutes ahead of me, which I was that's quite a lot.
It's a bit of real estate there.
I know. But I was feeling good, and then I got told that she had possibly broken her finger and wasn't able to use poles. And so I was just and I'd made, I think, 11 minutes on a climb into her. And so I was okay, I think if I could just keep moving well, I could possibly pick her up by the end. But I felt like she took a while to break. Like I was like, she's like a cat with 9 lives.
She's on life 3, 4.
No, it was like I got into Champé and got told about the finger, and then I got into Triant and someone said, I don't know if it's true or not, they said that she'd sprained her ankle, and then I felt like
that's life 4.
And then I felt like the time like was sitting around 28 minutes, I think, at Triant.
Okay.
And then it wasn't until coming down to Valacine I was able to put 8 minutes on her between the last timing point. So I was like, okay, I think I can try and catch her.
Find her at some point. And ultimately the pass happened on the top half of the final climb, is that right?
Yeah, just before, kind of maybe about 5 minutes before you come out on the ski slope up to Fligier.
Got it.
Yeah.
And the way that she talked about that pass was that you looked amazing and she was doing the best that she could, and there was just no touching that.
Yeah. Well, it's like I kind of like wanted to pass her convincingly so that she didn't think that she could come back.
I am going to be my strongest right now.
And then when she's out of sight, I'm going to start walking. But it was just like I was like impressed with, pleased with how I was like feeling for the back half of the race, and then I was still able to like move decently well.
You came into the finish line, it might be fair to say that you used what you had to give that day. You looked like you had, a feeling of, physical relief, psychological relief. You put it all out there, you used it, you got to the finish in second. Yeah,
I think like I was able to execute like where I was at, like the best race I could have yesterday. Yeah.
You said a few minutes ago that this is your first UTMB.
Yeah.
Does that mean that there will be other UTMBs?
You're like Martin. He asked me that on the finish line. I was like, you need to wait a bit longer.
You said I'm not answering that right now. What we're doing is psychotic or something like that.
I think like just knowing how it works, how UTMB works, and how I think if I could come back and try and improve it. I think that's what we all do. We always end up back trying to work on things that we felt that didn't go quite right on the day. Yeah.
You've done a lot of races in a lot of places around the world at this point. You've seen what there is to see in trail ultra running. Mm-hmm. Now that you've also seen the spectacle of UTMB and been like within it and in the front of it, like what is this like in comparison to the biggest, craziest other races that you've done?
I think this is probably one of the biggest ones, really. I don't know what you would compare it to. I think it's on its own, really. Like, it was amazing, like the sport all like lining out of town, and then at Notre Dame it was like, it was electric. I've never experienced that in any other race, and I think it was pretty special.
Was it cool? Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool. But then like there's a lot of stimulation like, at the start of the race, and I was like, by the end I was like, okay, I'm ready for some like chill nighttime miles.
I'd like to be out in Italy by myself, please.
But it was really cool, the support we did get. Yeah.
It's kind of interesting to me because running is sort of like the perfect introvert's sport. You know, you spend many hours in the mountains by yourselves, and then this is like literally the polar opposite of that. It's you're having an experience and it's so external with all these people who are living it with you.
And it's changed like now with live coverage as well. It's like, especially if you're like the lead female, like for Katie, she was probably followed the majority of the day. So but it's just the way it makes other people follow along and support and watch it. So
you said at the in your pre-race interview with us that you were pretty stoked that this was the season ender.
Yeah. It's been, I think, like after not making the start line last year, and it's been quite a big build to get to this point, and I'm just ready to get unfit and just chill out.
Yeah, and you do pretty cool stuff in the off season. You go home to where you're from in New Zealand and do some tramping around the mountains and I think a little bit of running still.
Like I still, when I'm in New Zealand, it's like when I do probably the biggest volume normally in my base building, but it just doesn't feel like it's the main focus. Like when we're in Europe, like Martin's obviously working in a lot of events, and I feel like I'm pretty focused on training as well. So New Zealand, it kind of, it feels like running takes a back burner, even though it doesn't really.
Let yourself at least feel more relaxed about it.
Yeah.
last question for you. It was really cool, at least for me, to see your family on the finish line with you, your dad, mom, and sister.
Yeah.
It's, I think, unusual that they get to come and see your events.
Yeah, they've never been to Europe to watch me race, and they actually came last year for UTMB. So like when I couldn't make the start, I think that's the thing I was disappointed about the most, because I felt like they'd come all this way, but they actually didn't care. They had a great time. And so yeah, also Martin's family was out on course as well with signs, and I just think it's a bit more special when you get to share it with people that you care about.
I think I got emotional watching you see your parents, because I think you got like a little emotional about
Well, I don't know, it's like, it's just, even it was at the finish line, I was like, it's just wild what we've done, like been through 3 countries and spent the whole night, and to get to the finish, to make the lap, was special.
And also it just, like, this just edifies that it's a team sport.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And just like for me, going into Courmayeur, like knowing I was going to see Martin, and then I had Chalky at Les Contamines, it really gets you through. Yeah.
Speaking of Chalky, did anything happen costumes-wise?
I know. Like I was going into Trion, I was like, I'm going to see the dinos here, and then they weren't there, and I was like, I'm going to see them in Valacine. Didn't see them, and then apparently they didn't get handed over. There was a miscommunication or something. So yeah.
It's like maybe the dinos didn't make the flight or something.
No. They were actually in Chamonix, but they just didn't make it out of.
They didn't make the
out of the bag.
Transfer out to the aid stations. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, next time. Congratulations to you on your second place finish at the 2024 UTMB, and if you decide to make another lap around this mountain, that'll be a fun watch.
Yeah. Thanks, Megan.